Okay, I'm going to go over some of the work for the workbook page I've assigned you, page 109, 1 through 12. You need to do all 1 through 12. I'm just going to do odds here, so if you need help, you can watch the video and help you with it. I do expect you to watch the Khan Academy videos. They are really thorough and helpful, so watch those, and if you need help with this assignment, watch this video. After the due date, I'll be posting all of the answers for this assignment. Okay. Okay, so it's titled Using the Distributive Property. You want to think about distributing backwards. We're reversing the multiplication skills that we worked on before our break. So number 1 is 7x plus 49. We want to think, what did this problem look like before a number was distributed into it? So you need to come up with common factors. And I know this is a review for you. You've definitely done this before. So we're going to look at the coefficient 7 and the constant 49, and we're going to think what number divides into both of those. It's 7. So I'm going to put 7 outside of parentheses, and inside the parentheses I'm going to put what would be left if I were to divide both terms by 7. So in the first term, the 7 would be canceled out and I'd have an x left. In the second term, 49 divided by 7 is 7. So this is the factored form of the polynomial. You can check any type of factoring. You can always check factoring by multiplying. So if I was to distribute 7 back into the parentheses, I would have 7x plus 49, which is the original problem. Okay, so we're just taking out greatest common factors. Number 3. (5a squared minus 15). Both 5 and 15 divide by 5, so our GCF is 5. I'll put 5 out in front of parentheses. And now I think if both terms were to be divided by 5, what would I have left? In our first term, the 5's would cancel out, leaving a squared. Second, negative 15 divided by 5 leaves you with negative 3. You can always check by multiplying. (5 times a squared is 5a squared. 5 times negative 3, negative 15. Number 5. Okay, this problem looks more challenging because there's 2 variables. When I look at just the numbers in the problem, 8 and 56, I see that they both divide by 8. 8 goes into 8 once, and 8 divided by 56 is 7. Now when I look at them both, I see that they also both have the variable a. So my GCF will also have an a in it. To write my factors, I'll put 8a in front of parentheses. Now if I divide both terms by 8a, the 8's cancel out, the a's cancel out, leaving just x. 56 divided by 8 is 7, and the a's cancel out. So here is our factored form. You can check it by multiplying back in. Not required, but a great thing about factoring is that you can always check. So 8a times x is 8ax, and 8a times negative 7, negative 56a, is the problem we were given. So it checks out. Number 7. T squared h plus 3t. And here's where it's getting more challenging. The number in front of t squared h is just an invisible 1. So we don't have a number in our GCF because the only common factor between 1 and 3 would be 1. However, both of these terms both have the variable t in them. So our common factor is t. You don't have to put a 1 here. So I'll put a t outside of parentheses. Inside of the parentheses is what would remain if I were to divide a t out of both of these terms. So if I have t squared and I'm taking 1t out, I'll be left with 1t, and the h remains. I had 3t and I'm taking a t out, so all I have left is 3. Again, I can check. T times th would be t squared h. T times 3 is 3t, and that is the original problem, so my factoring checks out. Number 9. Okay, I'm going to check out every term. We have x, x squared, x to the third, y squared. So looking at all three parts, what they have in common is they all have x. This is x to the first, this is x squared, and this is x to the third. So my GCF will just be x. I'll put x outside of parentheses, and I'm going to divide an x away from each of these terms. So x removed here will leave us with a 1. You always have to have a 1. When your GCF is exactly the same as a term, you're left with a 1 in your parentheses. In our second term, I had x squared, I'm taking it out. So I'm left with just x to the first and y. And in my third term, I had x to the third, I'm taking an x out. So I have x squared, y squared. When I multiply x into all three parts, I get x plus x squared y plus x to the third y squared. Checks out. Number 11. Okay, when I look at the numbers are often easier than variables. 4, 16, and 12 all divide by 2. They're even, but they also all divide by 4. So you want to pick the greatest common factor. So I'm going to pick 4. If you pick 2, 2 is a common factor and it'll work. You can take a 2 out, but you'll be left with another common factor of 2. So it's best to take the greatest common factor out. Okay. 4, 16, and 12 all divide by 4. When I look at each term, I see that they all have the variable a, so my GCF will be 4 and a. So in my first term, I'm taking the 4 out, putting in front. I had a squared, and I'm taking an a out, so I'm left with a to the first. B squared stays the same. In my second term, 16,